Hey everyone, this is Garrett with the Lamelis team. I just wanted to run you through some helpful tips in terms of migrating your personal case logs database over to Notion and over to the OrthoOS platform. So as someone who's done this twice personally, both from a Google Sheets standpoint and from an Apple Notes standpoint, as you can see here, I migrated both of these into the OrthoOS platform, utilizing Claude as a way to do that without manually, copy pasting rows, because that would take forever for me as someone who came over as a chief. So obviously, starting sooner is better, but it's never too late. I started halfway through my chief here, and I just wish I did it sooner. So I want to help you all do this in a time-efficient manner because I know you're busy. So what I've done here is, with the help of Claude, of course, made a prompt that you'll be able to copy paste, and it should get you most of the way there. Though your pre-existing case log, much like mine, is likely nuanced and has your own shorthand to it. And so you'll need to teach Claude that if you expect it to be able to migrate you over. So I just want to go through these bullet points one by one. I will place this in the start here area of the template, so you have it, in addition to some other tips from migrating over from these other platforms. I'll note that if you've already downloaded the template and you don't have access to this, just email me and I can, as you can see in one of our other videos, duplicating pages and sharing pages, I can share this page with you. No problem if you've already downloaded. So please just let us know and email us if you need any help with that. Okay, so the first thing that you'll want to do within Claude is install a connector, which will allow it to talk to Notion and make edits within Notion. So you'll go into your settings, connectors. Okay, it's a new update, so they moved connectors to customize, whatever. We'll click that. And you can see some of the connectors I've installed. So Descript is the software I use to make these videos, so don't worry about that. Google Drive, I gave it access to this so that it could help with my Google Sheets. Ultimately, I ended up doing it a different way, so I don't think you need to install that. But Notion, you will want to install this. You'll click Browse Plugins and type in Notion. And mine's not showing up because I already have it installed, but you'll see it and be able to install it and have it and go through and decide what you want to allow it to do. But I've set these settings the way I like it, and here we are. Once you've done that, I just want to walk you through this prompt and what I've laid out for it and how it's going to help you. So you ask it to read your database. So it's reading your OrthoOS main case log in addition to the rest of the database and familiarizing itself with the multi-select protocols and everything that's in there. It's then going to go map those columns and compare it to what your pre-existing case logs database is, and line by line decide, okay, this column is labeled attending and this one is labeled attending. I'm pretty sure that's the attending column. But there are going to be some gray areas. And after you submit the prompt, it's going to ask you, hey, is this the right matchup? Is this the right pairing? Procedure titles, I've just asked it to keep your original wording so that it doesn't change that. It doesn't make any assumptions. I think that's one of the problems you can get into with some of the generative AIs is assumptions that it makes. Tags for specialty, it should be able to figure that out. And I've given it some examples here to choose from. Like if you have ACL, meniscus, tag it as sports. So I've given it examples to go from, but you'll want to scroll through and check these things afterwards. Procedural type tags, again, same type of thing. If there isn't a match in our existing database, then I told it not to create one. But if you have your own shorthand, if yours is different than ours, then just tell it that. Just say, hey, instead of RCR for rotator cuff, just write out rotator cuff. And you can make that new tag before you start this process. And so it'll go through and it'll do that one instead if it comes across a procedure that's rotator cuff, for example. I told it never to fabricate anything. I think that's just important to highlight and have it ask you if there's any issues and to respect your formatting. And once it's done importing, to give you a rundown. I should point out that if you have some of these other platforms, you'll want to do this add-on process. So for Apple Notes, for example, there is an Apple Notes connector that you can use. I personally, showing you my Apple Notes, what I did, I opened my folder that has all my pre-op plans and whatnot, and I just selected all. So you can do on a Mac, Command A, just select everything, go into File, export, and you'll hit markdown. And when you do that, it will give you essentially a zip file that you can drag and drop into a Claude chat, and it should be able to parse those things out for you. If you're coming from a Google Sheet or an Excel, it's the same thing, because you'll export these, download these things as either a CSV file. I think Claude prefers CSV, so CSV is fine, or an Excel. It can read both. And then you'll drag and drop that into the Claude chat, and it'll be able to read it from there. For my Apple Notes, what was nice is that's where I had my topic notes as well. And so I just dropped all of that in there. And I said, if it looks like a topic note, then put it in the Ortho Notes system using that protocol. If it looked like a case or a case log, then you put it in there. And that was 100% accurate when I did it. Coming from OneNote, so I didn't have OneNote, so this, you'll have to double check this for those of you who have, and I'm happy to work with you if you email me, same for Obsidian. But those are the common ones that people come from. So let me take you over to my case log, some older cases that I had that were imported, so you can just see how this worked. So December of 23, I was still using Apple Notes for the most part. So these are Apple Notes imports, but all of these tags were assigned by Claude. I didn't have to go through and do all of these. It was based on my title of my note. So this one was a right revision, total knee. So it automatically assigned it revision. It's very clear that that's one of the joints procedures. I told it for any joints at this time, during this time span, I basically said from however long I was on this block, November to January of 23, 24, any total joint orthoplasty case I was in, put DePuy, because I know the attending I was with for that block only used DePuy. And so it automatically put all of those in there. And you know what, if you look at some of these, my plans were not that good back then. So here's the total knee that I did, de-identified it here. I did have pre-op templating x-rays that I just didn't import in order to save tokens, and I just switched too late, but it would have been nice to be able to refer back to those things. But I can tell you that my pre-op plans are a lot better now that I'm in Notion, and I know that I have a good, reliable way to access them in the future. So that's what I have for you here. I will, again, make this available for you, this prompt, but it's not that hard to really make one yourself. If you just have a chat with Claude, you can just open the voice tab and say, hey, I downloaded this Notion template called OrthoOS. I've given you access to my Notion. You can go take a look at it and see what all of the columns and tags include. I want to switch my old case logging system over from, name it, whatever it is. How can you best advise I do it? Here's a prompt that was supplied to me for some guidance, but this is just a starting point. And then once you finalize it, you can go, and that's it. So I hope this is helpful. Please reach out if y'all have questions. Thanks.